Hey guys, we are going back to Transformers today, taking a look at one of the more recent Voyager class figures to have come out in the Power of the Primes wave. We are going to take a look at ELITA-1 today. So she comes in the same style box that we're used to for this line. And like I've said before, I really like this packaging. I like the style of artwork that they use. It's all very clean and consistent, and it looks good on the shelf, but of course we're going to be taking her out. On the back we have got some product shots. We've got some information about her prime armor, all that stuff that I don't really care about. So let's pull her out and see what she has to offer. Alright guys, so here she is out of the box, and honestly I feel kind of weird doing this particular video because I'm not really familiar with ELITA-1. Like, I know who she is and I know where she comes from, but I don't have a lot of experience with her, so take that with a grain of salt when you're listening to me kind of prattle on about this figure. I've also got a lot of Transformers that I still need to review that came before her. I haven't done Optimus, I haven't ddone Starscream, I haven't done Hot Rod, so I'm just sort of jumping in because I got her and I decided let's open this one up. So we've got her here in her robot mode, and this is how she comes packaged in the box. We've got her two accessories as far as what she actually uses without talking about prime armor. So she's got these two little blasters. But we'll talk about her in terms of what I think about her robot mode. We'll do articulation, talk about paint and stickers in this case, because there's a lot of those. Her overall look, and then we'll transform her, and then we'll take a look at her alt mode. Alright, so articulation. Let's just start there, knock it out, get it out of the way. I don't think there's anything too crazy or special here. She does have some interesting joints and some maybe frustrating joints for me personally, but we've got a rotating head. It does have a little up. It doesn't really have any down because she's going to hit her shoulders, her chest, just based on the design. The arms have nothing at the shoulder right here, but there is a ratchet. Let me knock that gun out. A ratchet inside of what I guess is maybe the armor of the figure. So it is there, it's just not exactly what it looks like. You might think it's there, but it's not. This rotates though, and everything here, as you can obviously hear, is a ratchet. I'm assuming that's related to how she transforms because it's not necessary, but I do like ratchet joints. And there is a bicep swivel. I guess it's kind of lower bicep. It's closer to the elbow. We've got a single jointed at the elbow, and then there's nothing really at the wrist. It's kind of what you get. It's going to move if it can move, and it really can't move here. There is nothing at the waist. She cannot rotate. She can't swivel. There's nothing there. There's no kind of crunch or anything like that. You know, try as I might, she's not going to move. We have got legs that can go out about yay far, and then they can swivel at the thigh. So this armor piece right here kind of breaks up the line work. It looks like kind of a leg guard almost, which, you know, you've heard me talk. I like it when you can break up those lines and make the joint look like it's something else. So we've got that. She can kick forward and kick backwards just fine. And then we have a kind of a single jointed knee, which actually has quite a bit of movement, but I don't really like this joint because the knee joint actually clasps into two prongs that are inside these leg pieces here, and you can pop it out, which does aid in motion, but I don't think it's actually supposed to do that, and it just gets kind of wonky. Mine don't really want to stay in there 100% of the time. It's not necessarily a problem, certainly not a defect in any way. It's just kind of the way she was designed. The knee joint actually is locked in there, but it can be pulled out. So take that with a grain of salt in terms of what you think it's supposed to be for. I haven't transformed her yet, so I don't know exactly what that does, but we will see. Now, in terms of her overall look and feel, I do like this design, at least when I'm looking at her from the front. I think she is incredibly ugly from the back. There's just a lot going on. You know, she's a plane, so there's going to be a fuselage somewhere. There's going to be the nose of the plane, and it has to go somewhere, and it's usually going to be a backpack. She's kind of got the backpack thing going here, and it's really big, though. I just don't like how far back it goes. And she's also got really, really humongous legs, boots, calves, whatever you want to call them. They are designed in such a way that they almost look like heels because of the way this toe piece works. I don't know if that's what the intent is or not, but it certainly looks like it to me. The rest of her from maybe the knees up, I think looks really good. She definitely has a feminine look to her. The head in particular, I think, is very much a smaller, more streamlined head. She looks a little bit more feminine. Some things, the legs, the waist almost, you know, it kind of cuts in. So she's kind of got a bit of a figure going, which I think looks good. It differentiates her from a more blocky male figure. And then her overall coloration and look, I think, looks good. We've got mostly just the red and the white, but we do have this kind of orangey, kind of salmon melon type color, which I think, again, is kind of a feminine look. It looks a little bit like a feminine color to me, and I think it works well. It blends in well, but it also breaks things up a bit. My only real gripe in terms of her colors is that I wish, and this is just something that I know we're not going to get, is that some of the panel lines would be filled in, because I know that it would make things stand out a lot more. You know, I could do a black wash on her and probably make things stand out a bit, and I might actually try that. But in terms of the overall coloration on her, I think she looks good. Most of it is going to be, as you might expect, molded plastic. We do obviously have you know, some grays down here on the legs, and then she has quite a few stickers. We've got the Autobots logo, we've got some stickers on her chest, we've got stuff on her wrist, there is some paint on her bracers, maybe is what you might want to call those, as well as even more stickers. We've got stickers on the feet, we've got them here on the legs, and then there's a ton on the back, and they're all, well, not all of them, most of them are a metallic kind of red, which I think looks really good. I would much rather have this figure be metallic red all around than this kind of cast red plastic, but I'll take what I can get. And then we've got her name here on the fuselage of the plane as well. So there's a ton of stickers. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to apply them, and thankfully they were applied relatively cleanly on this figure. I don't think I've seen anything that jumps out at me and says, you know, this sticker is wonky or placed incorrectly. So in general, I do think she looks good. Like I said, my big gripe is mostly with the fact that the boots are just so big, and then the backpacking that's going on. The rest of her from the front, I think, looks pretty solid and very much gives you that look of a female Autobot. Now, beyond that, we do have some accessories to talk about, and I mean, some is almost none, really. So she's got these two little puny blasters that can fit in her hands. That's basically it. What you see is what you get here, just this tiny little guy, and then we've got another one right here. She holds them, they're incredibly tiny, they're about 1 inch. And then we do have her prime armor as well, which, again, like I've said, I don't really care about it. She does have an Autobot Enigma too, but in general I think these are relatively boring and I just don't do anything with them. I have yet to actually make use of them because I've not combined any Transformers so far. It's just the gimmick of the line and I'm not a big fan of it. So if you are, that's great, but it's really not for me. I think it kind of breaks up the look of the figure, and it just adding a big chunk of black plastic doesn't really do anything for me. So let's real quick take a look at her against some other Transformers just to give you a sense of scale, because she is a Voyager class. So here's a couple smaller Transformers with her. We've got some of the Dinobots. You can see that she definitely has a little bit of size on her. She's got some just overall bulk, width because of those wings on her back, and then again she's got a little bit of height just because she is again a Voyager class, and they do have larger scale than your deluxe class figures. So let's transform her and see what she looks like in her alt mode now. Alright guys, so 12 relatively easy steps later, we have ELITA-1 in her alt mode, which is a pretty nice looking fighter jet, actually. I thought as I was transforming her that I wasn't going to like this because she is kind of bulky, and that's, you know, the feet on this character is really where that comes in. You can kind of see there's a lot going on kind of on the backside here, but when you're looking at her from the back, like those look like some pretty cool like afterburners and engines back there, and overall I think they look pretty good. I do like the fact that those metallic stickers are on the top, so you really get that nice shine. We've got her two little pea shooters on the side here. The canopy on the plane does open, which I don't fully understand why. There's hinges here to pop it open. I don't see why. There's nothing that can go in there. There's an empty spot, so that's a thing, but I'm not sure why. And you can hook the prime armor underneath the wings here if you want to give it some enormous black claws to hang down. It does have some landing gear on the front to help it sit down, so it's not just resting flat on the ground. And surprisingly, I do like this. I think the legs translated really, really well into these engines on the back. There's a lot of detail on the back side here, which I particularly do like. You can see there's some more paint applications, some more decals. Just overall, she looks pretty cool. She is still a little on the bulky side, I think, but overall, she makes for a pretty fine looking plane, and I'm a little more interested in her in this mode than I expected. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually keep her in it or not. I rarely do that with Transformers, but she does, however, look pretty cool, and I'm pleasantly surprised. So at the end of the day, I am surprisingly happy with this figure, for one that I didn't ever expect to buy and only really got because, hey, new figure, let's buy it. she turned out to be better than I thought. I like her in her alt mode, which is usually not the case for me when Transformers are vehicles. I normally prefer them in their robot mode, and I think I prefer her in her robot mode as well. But she does make for a very convincing fighter plane, maybe a little bulky on the backside, and her robot mode is again a little bulky on the backpack and then on her feet. But for the most part, I think she looks like a feminine Transformer. She very much looks like a intimidating and cool fighter jet. So I am pretty happy. The only real downside for me is that she has those goofy little guns, which ultimately could have been far more interesting had they given her something, you know, even slightly more imposing than just those two little pea shooters. But overall, again, I am happy with this one. So that's going to do it for this look at the Transformers Power of the Primes ELITA-1 figure from Hasbro. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time.